So the next question I was asked is regarding the contributions or obstacles that digital communication poses to leadership. I've already spoken of some of the positive things about digital communication. Let me just add one more thing, particularly in the area of biblical studies, and as we look at strategies for engaging the spheres, categories that oftentimes require multi-layered, interactive, integrated perspectives. The wonderful thing about a digital technology, when used well, not just by looking at screens, but actually using it to its full, as we try to do with the SourceView Bible application, is that you can hold a lot more variables with the digital space that allow you to see things that would really be hard for the human brain to hold all in their own by itself. And so as we learn how to use these tools, I think there's a lot more truth and insight in the Word and in the ways of God that He wants to reveal to us. And so we need to use these tools in order to discover riches that, treasures that have been hidden from the beginnings of time that are for this generation to discover. I'm very excited about that. I'm giving a lot of my life to that. But I think there's some downsides that need to be looked at very honestly. There's been a lot of new brain science in the last 15 years that we've never been able to do before. Just the last decade and a half, they've been able to do live CAT scans of brain and see how live synapses are working. Well, in the past, the only way we could study the brain is after a person had died and doing cross sections of the brain and looking at that. And now what we know is there's so much that is being discovered that is very interesting. And the left brain, right brain divide is really key. Our right brain functions way, way faster than our left brain. And before you understand the words of what I'm saying, your right brain has already made a decision whether you're going to believe me or not. There are things that we pick up through our visuals and other forms of input where we're reading the nonverbals, and the right brain makes the emotional decisions, makes the key volitional decisions, and often can't put that into words. And what has been discovered is that it works so fast. It's like nanoseconds, just millions of times per second that these receptors are discerning on your right brain. Our refresh rates on our technology are way, way slow. The fastest, most powerful computers and their refresh rates, the best technology we have is so slow that our right brain can't function. So we have that impression when we're doing a Zoom call or Skype call or looking at a video, that we're seeing everything and understanding. Because we're accustomed, when we look into somebody's eyes, we pick up all this soft data that really helps us in our decision-making process. And we assume that because we're seeing them on the screen, our left brain assumes that we're still doing that. But our right brain does not function in the digital space. That is a very important discovery that we're just learning about in these last few years. And so we can pass on a lot of information, but it's really hard to build either a genuine relationship or make significant decisions based on our current technologies, because the tools don't begin to match the capacity of our brain for its discernment of insight. So we need to recognize that we can delude ourselves into thinking that we're having a personal communication when we're not. We're somewhat handicapped, but we're not even aware that we're being handicapped. Our full receptor systems are not in place. So we have to really learn to have a blend of high tech and high touch. There is nothing like face-to-face that you can pick up, and it's very important. Another thing that's just to remember is that we can assume because we've posted something on Facebook or we sent off an email that we have communicated. You would never do that if you're sitting in a room and having a conversation. You don't say, well, I said something and now the conversation's over. You wait for a dialogue. And what is of concern for me, and I love the digital space, what is of concern for me is that we can speak very quickly and we can listen very poorly in this space. And James 1:19 says that we're to be quick to listen and slow to speak. And our social media is based on the other premise that we're quick to speak and slow to listen. And we listen just enough to know whether we put a thumbs up or a thumbs down or put a little heart or a smiley face. And our communication is impoverished, our relationships are impoverished through that. So we need to continue working. Our society, as relationships are being defined by this minimizing relational diminishing technologies, we need to work with it and around it to be able to train people how to really look into each other's eyes, develop profound, deep, lasting, loving relationships, and use these tools to pass on the information, to enhance communication, and to do all that we can to see the kingdom of God grow. May God bless each and every one of you.